Remove from me falsehood and lying. Give me neither poverty nor riches. All right, so we're back in Agur's prayer today. And what are we looking at? Well, we're looking at the actual prayer that Agur says, because he says, there's two things I want to ask of you. You, referring to God, because he just said, I want to know who God is, and he's talking about God, so he's asking God, there's two things I want to ask you before I die. Two things I want you to do for me. The first thing is, remove far from me falsehood and lying. The second, give me neither poverty nor riches. And then the rest explains the poverty and riches part. So let's look at the first part, remove from me falsehood and lying, which is really sin, right? He's asking falsehood and lying. Now, falsehood comes from the word that means emptiness or vanity. Hence, the word falsehood is being empty of the truth. In some contexts, it's rendered as idolatry, which makes sense because, if you don't have the truth, you're worshiping something fake. That's an idol, and that's idolatry. And so we understand that. Okay, so remove falsehood. Remove this vacancy of truth. Fill me with truth. I'd rather be full of truth than empty of all truth. I don't want to have a vacancy sign on my ideas of truth. And then we have the idea of lying here. This is the word used in the same way as the other, but more often used to describe as deception. So one is like emptiness of truth. The other one is actually actively deceiving people. And so Agur doesn't want either of those in his life. He wants those to be far from him. And that's a good prayer to pray, because we should pray and ask God to remove sin far from us. Like Psalm 103, it says, as far as the east is from the west, so far does he remove our transgressions from us. That's what we should be asking. Lord, please remove my sin as far as the east is from the west. An infinite kind of way. Don't just get rid of it. Remove it far from me. And so that's what he's asking. That's the first thing he asks for. Now, the second thing is, give me what I need. Remove sin from me, and then give me what I need. And so he's talking about material things here. The first thing he talks about is he doesn't want neither poverty nor riches, but what God deems what we need. That's what he wants. What do I need, God? That's what I want you to give me. So he knows that living in the extremes is not good for him. It's not a good place for him. To have little or a lot is a temptation to sin. And he understands that. He knows that. If he's gonna have a little or a lot, he's gonna be tempted to do sin. And Jesus reiterated what really Jesus reiterated what Agur was told back then. In Luke 11:3, he says, "Give us each day our daily bread." It's in the Lord's Prayer. That's the idea. This is really a forerunner of the Lord's Prayer. And the fact that he's saying, remove evil from me, right? Remove temptation from me, and then give me what I need, my daily bread. So that's what he's asking for, his daily bread. So the prayer that Jesus gave to his disciples is not really anything new. Agur prayed basically the same thing. Yeah, the words are a little bit different, but the meanings and the ideas behind the both prayers are the same. Give me my daily bread. Give me what I need. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with the food that is necessary, needful for me. That's give me my daily bread. So there it is. And then James warns us about this temptation here, that if you have a lot, he says in James 5:5, you have lived on the earth in luxury and self-indulgence. You have fattened your hearts in a day of slaughter. So if you have a lot, the problem is, if you have a lot, then if I have too much, then I'll be tempted to be self-satisfied and say, who is the Lord? That's what he says here. Who is the Lord? So when we have everything we want, then we no longer really need to trust in the Lord. We don't need to depend on him. Even though the whole universe is dependent upon God, we forget that. Riches make us quickly forget. If we have all of our needs taken care of, then we're like, well, I don't need the Lord. Who is the Lord? I forget who he is. I don't really need to talk to him anymore. And so that's the idea, that you have this, where it's, we're not dependent upon God anymore. And then you have this idea here too, The second part is if I'm in poverty, then I'll be tempted to steal and profane the name of the Lord. So the temptation in poverty is to make money our God. So when we don't have money, then money may become an idol to us and become our God to us. And we think money will answer all of our problems when we're poor. When we don't have money, we're like, if I just had some money, I'd be all set. It would take care of all my issues. I wouldn't have any problems. But what are we willing to get that for? What are we willing to get the money? How are we willing to get the money? And what are we willing to sell? Well, the idea he says here is that I would steal and then profane the name of my God. So he's saying, if I didn't have enough, if I don't have what I need, then I'll be tempted to steal from people. And that would profane God. That would bring a reproach upon God. I don't want to do that. I want to be a person who's above reproach. But that's who we should be. So we don't want to bring reproach. We don't want to profane the name of our God because we're in poverty and then we think we have to do something. That's the thing. There's no trust there. You have to trust God to get you out of the poverty. Not that you don't work, not that you don't try hard to do what you need to do, but you can't trust in your work of your own hands. You trust in the Lord, and then you work. It's not an either or, it's both. You have to work, but you can't trust in that work. You have to trust in the Lord that He will provide for you through that work. Otherwise, you're going to profane the name of the Lord, and that's not good. So let us stop there for today and come back next time and we'll finish off with the conclusion of our study this week.